This is the weirdest episode of Man into the Wild ever. He gouged out the crocodile's eyes. I thought he was gonna roast it. I didn't expect it to be in my eyes the next second. It's not enough. He didn't just roast the balls of crocodiles. He cut out the tongue of a crocodile and ate it. It's the way he disrespects crocodiles. Cursed by a crocodile. Originally a jolly man, he turned into a pale, dying old man. Why is this? Time came to day 35. Gary and his team set up alligator traps this morning. It's mid-afternoon. Snyder checks out the alligator traps. He stood on the shore and watched. The opposite fishing line was pulled very straight, and there was a lot of movement. He thought he must have caught a crocodile. This time it was his turn to eat the crocodile. Snyder ran back excitedly. Tell the team about the gator. I'm running, and I'm asking my teammates to pick something out. Max looks like he's high, too. They soon came to the shore to check, because crocodile traps are set across the river. Snyder's nut bag is still stitched. Only Max and Gary can sing conquest to the crocodiles. Although this mission is dangerous, but Gary was a daredevil. The crocodile is right in front of us. If you catch it, you can eat barbecue every day. There are probably many crocodiles lying in the water. Snyder's keeping watch on the shore. If you see a floating lotus move more powerful, that means a crocodile is attacking them. This river is actually very big. Man in the water must be very dangerous. When they got to the middle of the river, sure enough, it got the crocodile's attention. Snyder immediately called for Gary. The crocodile had attacked them. Gary looked around in fear. Fortunately, they made it to shore before the crocodiles arrived. At this point, the paracord was pulled very tight. They slowly approached and pulled the paracord in the water. It was obvious something was moving. I did catch a crocodile, but it doesn't look big. The crocodile was entwined by many floating water lilies. Max cleaned up the debris with a wooden stick. Gary slowly pulled the crocodile closer to shore. This is very dangerous, because as we approach, the crocodile will probably come at you. Max has an axe and is ready to attack. The crocodile was slowly drawn closer. Max took the axe and cut it down. It's not enough for a crocodile to die in 10. After a successful crocodile hunt, hey, the guys can't wait for a chicken hawk. I don't know how long it takes for a cock to bark. Only hippies are the most excited. Snyder got excited, too. I'm on my second round of alligator roast. You've been hungry for over 30 days. Snyder, you get a hammer. They captured a 2-meter crocodile. Gary and Max dragged the crocodile across the river. Today is their day of victory. This alligator in front of them should last them until day 60. When they got back to the shelter, start handling the crocodile. Gary's the trash guy who's most interested in guts. At this moment, Snyder thinks hunting alligators is a simple matter, and he put 13 on the soy sauce. They cut the crocodile in half. Max handled the alligator body. Snyder handles the alligator tail. Gary handled the alligator entrails. Wild crocodiles contain a lot of bacteria. They have to get rid of the crocodile meat as soon as possible. Drying crocodile meat is the best way to preserve it. Gary's already cooked the alligator. Grab a piece and give it to Snyder. Snyder's been starving for a month. Now you know what it tastes like to eat big meat. I just had raw meat on my hands, and now you're eating cooked meat. Let's just say that their physical constitution is a real cow. Gary was just working on the colon. I didn't even wash my hands. It tastes just as good. Max is munching his meat. Now he feels full of energy. I thought I could run a marathon to relieve my stress. I'm fine with you running a marathon. If you were pulling Gary into the shelter, I'll be the first to agree. They'll probably be busy getting rid of all this crocodile meat. But this side of Jeff's team, they've been marching down the river for 2 days. I've been trying to find a place with high water, hot sun overhead. They paddled hard on the raft. Jeff's shoulders are getting sunburned. This couple is having the worst time of all. Jeff's team is at the crossroads right now. On the left is the Gary group, and up north is the Matt group. How will they choose? Matt group this way. They just caught a nutria. But teammate Riley was vomiting because he wasn't feeling well. They risk losing their teammates. Riley is now the only woman on any team. She's here. Matt's shelter is more of a home. Riley felt much better after throwing up. It's obviously gastroenteritis. Matt and Ryan are fishing on the bridge. One wrong move on this bridge, and it falls into the water. Now the Matt team has established perfect order. They have a clear division of work each day, has been completely adapted to the living environment here. Matt is looking forward to day 60. No surprises today. Ryan spent the end of the day on the bridge with the sunset. Jeff, team this way. They're still on the river. The sun is going down soon. They must find a place for the night quickly. The environment here is not bad. They decided to dock and set up a temporary shelter here. The pair are brothers and sisters, moving because of fear of black bears. Instead, I found myself with Matt's team, yelling when they found the shelter. Matt, they weren't too happy when they heard the screaming. Steven and Jeff are notoriously loud. You yell at the slightest thing. After all, we are old acquaintances. Ryan didn't have a very good opinion of them. Riley at first thought it was a teammate yelling. Find it very strange. My teammates are usually soft talkers. I came out to see it. It turned out to be these two loud men. The look on Matt's face. I knew I didn't welcome the two megaphones, but the two megaphones couldn't see the details. I was so excited about myself. I saw someone there and asked if anyone was home. It's probably thicker than a cow's skin, although they are not very welcome, but we got to know each other. When they arrived, they pretended to greet them with smiles and welcome them into their shelters. But now the Marts have plenty to eat and drink. Deep down, they don't want anyone else to join. I must say these gringos know a thing or two about the world. Steven and Jeff are guests to them. It's impossible for him to guard the door when the guests arrive. But there was no meat for midnight snack. Snyder teamed this way. They are now the most comfortable. Not too many is just right. And he hunted a crocodile. There were 2 pieces of barbecue on the log. Gary probably won't stop eating again. Time came to day 36. Snyder had been wasting his energy with a log all morning. For 36 days, I had my first full meal yesterday. Now he felt full of power. There are no girls on the team. The only young guy was a nigger. He can only use up his energy by lifting wood. And Gary was barbecuing in the shelter all morning. Last time, he couldn't stop eating. I'm sure it will be the same this time. Snyder cooks the rest of the meat on a rack. There's too much meat to handle. Snyder wants the meat to last him until day 60, so they can lie down every day. Gary's gouging crocodile eyes again. This high guy's always eating weird parts. Raw crocodile meat is more dangerous. It contains all kinds of germs in it. Blood-sucking parasites are numerous. But in front of this high guy Gary, he doesn't care. People who eat shit. The maggots can also be dried for a snack. Those crocodile eyes he didn't want to waste. His survival principle is not to waste food, including the alligator colon. Roast for breakfast. This is the only team that can do it. 1 bite of meat in one's mouth. Taste buds go straight to the insides. Gary, the high guy, cut the alligator's eyes out. I thought he was roasting it. Never thought of the next second. I put it right over my eyes. My brain atrophied when I saw that. I sometimes have a hard time understanding the behavior of the contestants. Stop talking about me. Even his teammates were surprised. I'm gonna get Gary on my team. Sometimes he really scares me to death. Just the look of Gary. Alligators have nightmares when they see this high guy. And Matt's on this side. Jeff's team may have arrived here, but I'm not sure I'm joining Matt. Jeff actually volunteered to do some work this morning. He's got legs. This means several things. They rushed to a meeting and asked what the 2 megaphones were up to, but Jeff said he wanted to build a shelter nearby. Team Matt went mute when they heard that. My throat suddenly shut up. He's got legs. Suddenly 2 more neighbors. Eat meat and make dumplings every New Year. No one would be happy. Matt didn't really like Jeff, because in the Philippines, trying to survive, Jeff catches the big eel, choose to enjoy alone. In spite of the fact that my neighbor Riley was starving, they really hate Jeff. Matt thinks Jeff is very selfish and arrogant. Jeff also said he hates players who try to win in bed. He was telling his point of view. Riley thinks he's talking about himself. Ryan was there last season. He was very embarrassed to hear that. Steven also said that no one likes to work with a competitor, and they know it, and said if Matt's team doesn't want them to go where, please be sure to tell them in advance, so they don't mess up your hunt. Despite what they say, Jeff, but I don't feel comfortable having competitors next door. Riley says his team is strong. It took a lot of hard work to get here. It's obviously something you don't want to share with other people. And Jeff said they should consolidate their resources and share the big results. Jeff's a high ass with a thick skin, walking into someone else's shelter empty-handed. Ask others to pool resources and share results. What resources can he integrate with others? He has nothing to offer but human resources. The map boys don't really want them here anyway. I was embarrassed to see my shit come out of this conversation. Jeff and Steven just want to hang on anyway. Gary grouped this way. They are roasting crocodile meat for lunch. If Jeff and they come here, I don't know if I can stay, but I'm sure I'll have a good roast dinner. Max and Snyder are having a barbecue. Gary's eating a piece of shit. It's a piece of alligator liver if he's not stupid. As a wilderness trash man, he doesn't want to waste anything. After lunch, Gary's handling raw meat again. This is the crocodile's tongue. Snyder was worried about Gary because he's always working on weird stuff. He roasted eyeballs and crocodile heads. Snyder was very worried that he was going to eat too much and get sick. I'm not going to eat with Gary anyway. Gary even shared his alligator balls with Snyder, but Snyder was mercilessly rejected. That's exactly what Gary wants. Yellow crocodile eggs are delicious. Max can't see past it either. Oh my god, seeing the bug crawl out of his mouth. I'm really about to explode. Jeff, team this way. They're planning to build a shelter here. There are a lot of trees around here. They could have built a beautiful shelter. Take down the raft and build a shelter. This can save them a lot of time. Building the shelter was a big project. It takes a lot of energy, but they're not stupid. It's not just trees here. Human resources are also abundant. While building the roof, Jeff called them over to help. Do a little by yourself. A shelter will soon be ready to keep warm at night. Stephen made a reflecting wall out of wood. They only spent 2 hours on the shelter. To repay them, Jeff shared some hooks with Team Matt. It turned out that the team had been fishing without hooks. Face what Jeff did this time. Riley has a new perspective on him. They wouldn't even ask Jeff to share some hooks, and now he's sharing it. That's very good. Riley was thinking about rewarding Jeff tonight. The relationship between their two teams. Some improvements have been made as a result. Ryan started planning the nutria trap again. He's addicted to catching nutria. Set a trap in the path of the nutria. Well, now he's addicted to nutria. He disguises where the nutria might pass and put a trap in it. As soon as the nutria passes through here, I'm gonna kill him. Jeff, they set up fishing gear on the shore. Stephen also sets crocodile traps in the water. Will this be the third team to eat alligators? Jeff strung the bait on the hook. Expect to catch a fish the next day. At night, they live in the new shelter. It looks pathetic, but they were content because today is a busy and full day. Things have eased with Matt's team. He's also very happy. Time came to day 37. They slept comfortably last night. The shelter's radiating walls worked. Jeff got up in the morning and went to check the fishing gear. He's really looking forward to something. Riley got up early, too. She was determined to live a full day today. So I spent the morning outside peeling branches. She had to go fishing to mend those 2 iron bars. I got the fishing hook Jeff gave me. I think we'll catch a fish this time. Jeff's got an alligator gar here. It sent him flying with excitement. I haven't eaten in days. Can you not be happy to catch a fish? Riley was happy for him, too. Matt and Ryan gathered back. They are also desperate to catch fish. But for Matt, this megaphone, he was a little disgusted. But Jeff doesn't care about that. It's reasonable to get excited about a meal. He was just celebrating that he had food. This alligator gar we caught today is very big. It weighs, like, a few pounds. There's enough to feed them both. The time came to evening. This owl is so cute. I just want to sit on it. Gary groaned in the shelter. Not all groans are assholes. Or maybe a stomachache. Gary ate like crazy today. Now I have a stomachache. The jello on my nose is longer than my kids. It would be a waste not to go back and eat it. Just wiped it off and ran out again. It looks nice and tasty. Too bad Gary doesn't have the stomach for it right now. Gary was very upset. Coughing in the shelter. Shit, piss, shit, and shit came out. He's got legs, and it doesn't let your teammates live. Max and Snyder are forced to taste Gary's poop molecules. Time came to day 38. Matt grouped this way. They've been fishing on the bridge all morning. Many water lilies appeared on the river. Ryan tried to clear an area. It will make it easier for them to fish from the bridge, and Jeff is on this side. Stephen woke up one morning to find many water lilies on the water. This will affect the performance of the crocodile trap. They had to consider changing their fishing position. Jeff thinks the neighborhood is too tight. He's looking for a new position. Matt and his crew got a hit on their hook. They caught a fish. It's all because of the hook Jeff gave us. Ryan was also very grateful. This is a big fish of several caddies, enough to feed them for the day. Jeff came to check the fishing gear. The fishing line was pulled very tight. It's obvious there's something down there. He pulled the line and caught a fish. Jeff was excited to fly, although it is a small catfish. I'm lucky I'm not hungry. Jeff shouted again. Team Matt thought Jeff had caught a big fish. But look, it's just a little fish. He immediately looked down on her. Jeff caught this catfish today. Breakfast is in order. He cut off the head of the fish as bait for the crocodile. Take the fish and return to the shelter. This little bit of protein may not be much, but it's also a delicious breakfast. At this time, the sky is about to rain rhythm. They don't want it to rain. Even less so on the Jerry's side, because they still have time to smoke the meat. Gary is a loser today. Fresh jelly kept coming out of my nose. Gary felt tired, dizzy, and aching in his joints. Probably caught a cold with a bacterial infection. Gary was pale now. Looks like a far cry from yesterday's Spirit Boy. Now they are living on vacation. If Gary withdraws because of illness, it's a shame to miss out on the $100,000 grand prize. Max thinks Gary's a dead man. I used to eat crocodile meat all the time. Caused physical discomfort once. Vomiting in the shelter. And now I'm sick from eating meat. He really wanted Gary to pull through. After all, they've been friends for over a month. There's no love. There's no love. Matt grouped this way. They collected many palm leaves. It's a good shelter to keep out the rain. The weather is getting colder. They have to deal with it. So far, their shelter is dried up like a bird's nest. These palm leaves enhance the rain protection of the shelter. Riley was worried about Jeff and his family because the roof of their shelter was not properly built. If it rains, you're sure to get soaked. Matt thought they'd realize that. I can't get it on myself. Jeff was checking the hook. He caught another fish. They had fish for a meal when they came here. When Matt saw it, he was stunned. Why are all the fish going to Jeff? He thought Jeff was wasting his energy yelling about 2 little fish. It was stupid not to take the time to build a shelter. Matt's obviously jealous. Little did he know that Jeff had caught a big fish. A few pounds of alligator gar gave him a hearty meal. But the shelter does look rudimentary. The sky began to become overcast. They lay down in the shelter to rest. The roof of the shelter is cleverly designed. It's very bright on a sunny day. It rains a lot when it rains. They began collecting wood to complete the shelter. There are more than 20 days left in the challenge. Steven doesn't think it's necessary to take the time to build such a good shelter. Just put up with it and it's over. Matt, they used palm fronds to complete the shelter roof. By comparison, the difference is quite large. Steven's only worry is that it's a little cold at night, so he chose to collect wood, because wood burns to keep you warm. But Matt couldn't look past it. Matt said Steven stole their tree. Steven told him to take it. Matt says the nearby trees were left on purpose. Heard Matt say that. Steven was speechless. The sky is getting worse. Soon it began to rain. Jeff was collecting wood in the rain, and Matt talks about them at the shelter. Think they're not perfect shelters. It was a rookie's decision. The rain is likely to continue. If there is no winter shelter from the rain, it does feel a little bad. Jeff and his men were too busy collecting firewood. The shelters are leaking. Will the fire keep burning? Gary grouped this way. The sky has already rained. Max is the one who came running back here. What's he doing with Snyder? They're probably in the best shelter for now, although the shelter is large, but it hasn't been patched in a long time. There was a rain leak. Gary was lying on the floor like a dead high. Snyder decided to fix the shelter. Jeff and Steven this way. Their shelter was barely sheltered from the rain, but it's not warm at all. Looks like a little bit of a pity. The rain continued into the evening. They had to rely on the fire for warmth. Jeff shielded the fire with bark. The body was already wet with dripping water. Although the shelter is not very good, but Jeff thinks it's pretty good. Snyder teamed this way. They slept together around the fire. This shelter is very large, and they have a lot of fur. Snyder and Max are both covered in fur. Only Gary lay naked on the ground. Please don't bully Gary like that. At midnight, Snyder also got up and started a fire outside to smoke the meat. I have a hard time understanding the behavior of these high people sometimes. Time came to day 39. Little frog, blink if you've been kidnapped. I don't care if you're messing around with Lachio. It was foggy early that day. This is typically caused by a large temperature difference in the weather. Matt's out hunting in the morning. The fog hides the smell of his stinking man. That way, the deer won't be able to spot the high guy, but the fog can also block his view. Better not shoot an arrow at a teammate's ass. Matt crossed over the wooden bridge. Steven wakes up to see a thick fog around him. Thought I was frozen to death last night. Jeff went to check the fishing gear in the morning. Matt wandered the jungle in search of prey. As long as the heart is not afraid of ghosts, he's the guilo. Steven was checking the crocodile trap. Jeff caught another fish. He was screaming with excitement. Matt sees a deer, just trying to get ready for the hunt. Too bad the deer was scared off by Jeff's barking. Matt hated them. Steven catches a fish, too. Matt's back to being a nutrition freak. He said he'd never seen Jeff hunt, chasing a few little fish and yelling every day. He has great contempt for such a rookie. Anyway, how jealous he was. How happy Jeff is here. They caught 2 catfish today. Matt stood here and watched them. I want to kill them all. Gary grouped this way. Snyder and Max are out working. Gary's been lying in the shelter. He's dying of a cold. Even with the roast, I lost my appetite. Snyder hopes he gets better soon, so we can die together. Gary is aching all over, and he can't stop coughing. Fortunately, his teammates are very helpful. Max is going to check out the crocodile traps. So much the better if we can catch something new. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. They found a piece of wood here. Snyder thinks we can raft across the river. It's very good for making canoes. 1,000 years ago, the locals make canoes by hand. Make a groove in the wood, then put the charcoal on top. By controlling the temperature of the charcoal, let's hollow out the wood. This wood can be made into a 2-seater canoe. If I can cross the river, the area they explored was much larger. It's very helpful for them to get food. They are planning to make canoes. Clean off the skin of the wood. There hasn't been much rain recently. What's this log doing here all of a sudden? Isn't it the show crew that arranges their work? If I hadn't fed this piece of wood to my fans, they were cleaning the knots off the wood. Building a canoe is definitely a big job. I wouldn't take this job without an alligator. Snyder was cutting wood as hard as he could. Snyder is a really good guy. Max looked on in amazement. Snyder with stitches in his balls. I don't even think about it. No wonder the show gave them a big log. Snyder was the same age as Max's father. He's got a lot of respect for this high guy Snyder. It's an honor to be Snyder's heel. Jeff teamed this way. They were getting ready for breakfast in the shelter. Roast fish without scaling to retain the moisture in the meat. These days they eat fish for every meal. It's a lot easier to fish here. And Matt's team over here. They hear Jeff and them yelling every day. The heart is very unhappy. They think Jeff used up all the fish in the neighborhood. It is very unfair to them. Just jealous of Jeff and their good life. And Jeff, they think. I am very grateful to Matt's team for their help. On the opinions of the 2 teams, it's obviously Jeff and they have the bigger picture. Steven also thinks the environment here is very nice. Have many resources here. I'm sure they'll make it to day 60. Matt said Jeff interrupted his hunting today. That would have been a venison feast. Snyder teamed this way. Gary has a terrible headache. Max looked at him bewildered. The wilderness trash man is getting his comeuppance. The consequences of eating carelessly are very serious. The show called in a doctor for him, but Gary won't be tested. I saw them wearing masks and I knew what was going on. You know, Gary will be tested for the coronavirus. Grandma has a leg. That really killed me. To the wilderness to make nucleic acid. Gary's situation is really worrying. He's got a cough and a dizzy spell anyway. Max and Snyder won't even get close. The doctor came to examine him. Gary spoke about his situation. First check for fever. Snyder was very worried about losing a teammate. If Gary had been lying in the shelter, there's no such thing as this teammate. When I caught the crocodile, my teammates are eating barbecue. Gary is a crocodile's tongue, eyes, liver, and intestines. If he doesn't get sick, he gets sick. After inspection, Gary's vital signs are normal. The doctors think he's got food poisoning. The first day since Gary ate crocodile meat, there is a physical discomfort situation. The doctor thinks there are a lot of possibilities. It could be a parasite. It could be a viral infection. Vital signs are stable for now. It's just a matter of observation for now. Let's hope he can pull through. Not if it's just a common cold. If it's a parasitic infection, Gary's not gonna make it to day 60. Time came to day 40. This morning, Snyder and Max are in love with each other. The two of them enjoy a crocodile roast every day. It's like a vacation. Only Gary was dying in the shelter. They're the two who are most comfortable right now. Have enough to eat and drink. You can get roast meat for every meal. Get some soup for Gary. Snyder thinks Gary's got a cold because they all eat the same food. You don't feel any discomfort. So is Gary the high guy. Crocodiles are sacred. He played with crocodile eyes for fun. Must have gotten revenge from the crocodile. Gary was breathing the fresh air on the shore. Now he's in a lot of pain. The whole person is listless. I mean, it's just good. It's painful. It's bad. Matt grouped this way. Ryan's been packing all morning. Today is the 40th day, except for Ryan. Everyone here has completed a 40-day survival challenge. Ryan is also very happy that he made it this far. He made a spear on the ground. It's good for catching nutria. Matt recently noticed that there were no signs of any animals around, so they're less likely to hunt for food. So far, all hopes are pinned on Ryan catching the nutria. Nutria became their main source of protein. Matt has a lot of contempt for the fishing players. Ryan's spear is ready, very lethal. Jeff and Steven, these two high guys. I've been sitting here since I got up. No different than not getting out of bed. For this 40-day challenge, Jeff didn't think it was a big deal, did he? Because he's the only one here who's ever completed the 60-day challenge. Jeff likes to yell, though, but his ability to survive is really good. Maybe fishing was his forte, but as long as food is available, you can survive in the wilderness. They also learned to make a shelter. Riley heard me, said they were very childish. Oh, my God, is this woman so double-marked? Ryan searches the neighborhood for signs of nutria. He found a path in the ground. This should be the way the nutria gets home. If we set a trap here, we might catch it. Ryan continues to explore the surrounding environment. It's all swamps. The photographer was afraid to go with him. Ryan goes hunting alone. He's making a piston motion with a spear in the hole. Ryan was sure the nutria was in the cave. It really tests your hand speed when you're single. A nutria couldn't take it and got out. But this is a swamp. Ryan can't outrun a nutria. The nutria in the mouth just ran away. This is making Ryan's period so mad. Jeff teamed this way. He's mimicking Matt's crew making house tags. He made a Picasso-style one. Hang the wood on it. Officially named his team the Bayou Boys. It looks pretty good like that. Inadequate shelter. Take the time to make a nice house sign. What's wrong? Do you have to ring the doorbell to get in here? They are very fond of their house numbers. Snyder teamed this way. They decided to go out and continue perfecting the canoe. Gary couldn't move in the shelter. Teammates are making canoes. He was eager to help, but gets sick. Can't contribute to the team. They lit a fire here. The purpose is to get the charcoal. They began to collect charcoal. Place the resulting charcoal on the wood. Let the charcoal burn slowly on the wood. They just need to control the amount of charcoal. You can control its burning effect. The process takes about a few days to complete. This piece of wood is really big. It looks like a coffin. Gary came here, too. Now he feels much better. Gary's hair is still fashionable. It would be even more cool to wear skateboard shoes. Look at Gary's face now. Max was very worried, too. Expect them to build a beautiful canoe. Matt grouped this way. He saw Jeff drawing Bayou Boys house numbers. There's a new topic of discussion. They just don't like anything Jeff does. Matt's team thinks they own this place. All resources are their own. Ryan and Matt are planning a show. They want to start something bad with Jeff. Walking past Jeff's shelter with a tree branch, Jeff saw it all in the right light. Matt said Jeff's doing this to the shelter is affecting them. Tell my brother-in-law to take down this sign. Barbarians are really barbarians. Jeff didn't know what to say for a moment, but it's all been handled with great optimism. Out of respect, Jeff hung the door's sign on top of the shelter. Don't want to argue with him. Matt and their plan worked. It was clear Jeff was upset. The lungs Gary coughed up in the shelter are coming out. I don't think this high guy's gonna make it. When you cough, your fart pops out. Max looked at him in pain. Don't know what to do. Now all I can do is watch him cough to death. Gary felt very hot, and he keeps coughing. Teammates expressed concern. Gary was like a dying man. This is a beefy show. To see my teammates in this state. Snyder was on the verge of tears. The doctor came to examine him. Gary was breathing really hard. The doctor measured his blood pressure. Gary was shaking very badly. It was clear that Gary was starting to crack. After a series of tests, Gary is COVID-19. Doctors say Gary's vital signs are normal. Is not as long as not dead. Vitals are normal. Seeing my teammates like this, Snyder and Marks were worried. During the interview, Gary's already acting like he's gonna die. In the end, Gary opted out of the challenge. I'm really sorry. I'm already on vacation. And suddenly he had to quit the game because of his physical condition. I told you not to joke about crocodiles. Refused to listen. It's all right now. Got a crocodile curse and dropped out sick. My teammate cried like a woman. So what else do the contestants have in store for us next? Look forward to the next video update.